This episode, we are back on the C10. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, I am Joby, and this is the Natural Gearhead Garage. That is my 1981 C10. This episode, I'm going to show you how to change the shift points in your Turbo 350. This is an LS swapped vehicle with a Turbo 350. It will not allow me to rev out to 5,500. If I full throttle this thing, the 1-2 shift, about 2,000 RPM. It will not rev out. That's not acceptable. So we're going to go into the governor. We're going to change out the weights, change out the springs, get that dialed in so we can get this thing kind of revving up to where it'll shift a little bit higher. Might have to get into the vacuum modulator a little bit and get the part throttle dialed in too once we start messing with the governor. Also, I want to give you some updates. I've had some questions on kind of what's going on with the C10, man. So we'll give you some updates. I got some clips. I might do some voiceover in there. I don't know yet, but I'll throw some clips in on the updates of where this truck is. Also, I have some parts coming that are going to go underneath the hood of this thing, and it's going to make it really come to life. That's supposed to be here next week. Super excited about that. That won't be in this video. It'll be another video, but we got some horsepower coming. But first, we got to get the shift points dialed in, and I'll show you all the updates we've done, which are actually pretty cool. And we're going to hop into this video and into this 81 C10. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good time. One of the first things I wanted to address were the wheels. You could see the paints chipping off. They were kind of a blue color. I cleaned them up. Couldn't find blue to match, so I figured why not just change it all together. I wanted to black out all the accents. Basically black out the drums, the calipers, the center caps, even the lug nuts I did black. Then for the wheels, I figured just mask off the tires and go with a gunmetal gray. I thought that would look really good, so I just sprayed them with a gunmetal gray, got them installed on the truck, and I think it works. I think it gives it a little bit more of a mean look. I think with the red and black patinaed paint, it just kind of pulls it together. Looks really good in my opinion. I like how it came out. So the next thing I wanted to address and revisit were the fuel injectors. I pulled all the injectors out of the truck, all the injectors out of my spare LS engine that I had sitting in the shop. I cleaned them, backflowed them. I had 2 in the truck that were barely flowing. I had 2 in the spare engine that were completely dead on arrival. But between the 16, I got 8 good ones, and the truck is running way better. All right, so the next area I want to address is the interior area. And while I was in there, I pulled the dash cap off that they had on there. I installed a couple gauges for when we start adding boost. The one gauge is a vacuum and boost gauge, which is nice, and a wideband gauge so we can watch our air-fuel ratio when we get to tuning. The dash cap was just double-side taped in there to cover. You seen a second ago how the dash was completely just tore up, which that happens in these C10s. I pulled the cap out, painted it black. Not sure if I'm going to reinstall this yet or not. I'm just going to put it on the shelf for now, but it is painted and ready to go. But since it was off, I wanted to paint the dash itself so that it would just, I don't know, it looked terrible the way it looks. So I figured if I paint it black, that'd give it a little better look. And also while I was there, I went ahead and painted the steering wheel, the column, and later on ended up painting the kick panels too. And I think the red with the black looks really good. In my opinion, red and black, it's hard to beat. And I'm going to leave the door panels and all that the same as it is. I did paint the kick panels later on in this process. On the dash, somebody had installed a America emblem on there that was spray painted on a piece of sheet metal. I thought, why not get my 3D printing program, design something up, and see if I can't print something that would kind of pull the interior together, give it that red, white, blue look with the little Tennessee flag on the side. And it came out really good and looks good in there. Now, moving on to the transmission side of things. This thing wanted to shift under full throttle at like 2,000 RPM. It would not rev out. So I bought a governor kit from Superior Transmissions. There's the part number, so you have that. Bought a little tiny scale on Amazon for $5 so that you can weigh your weights and know how heavy your weights are whenever you're installing them. This cover right here on the side of your transmission is where the governor is. You're going to pull that clip over, pop that cover off. Right inside there's the governor. We'll come over here to the truck, get it pulled apart, and you can kind of see what we're talking about and how to adjust this thing. So we'll just pop that clip, pop the cover, get the speedometer cable out of our way. By the way, when you wrap it around the exhaust like this, don't leave it like that when you go for your test drive, because it could melt. Not that I did that or anything, but that can happen. So be careful if you do this. I've heard of it happening before. So the cover, I got it pried off. It had some silicone in there, which made it really hard, actually, to get off. So hopefully yours doesn't have that. But got that popped off and out of the way. Here's your governor. It's got a gear on there that connects to the gear inside the transmission, so that as a tranny's spinning, it'll spin this. These little weights will fly out. In theory, it'll just kind of, because of centrifugal force, there's weights inside of that, and that will move a plunger inside of this, opening different valves for moving fluid to where it needs to for your shift points. And that's kind of how it works. So basically, I get this on the table, pull it apart, see what weights we have in it, and change the weight up so that it'll change our shift points. So it comes with instructions and kind of gives you a guide on what numbered weights or what weight. You got springs, different color springs in there. You got some gaskets in here, and these springs will also help with your shift points. All the weights have numbers, at least in this kit, and you can use that to kind of line it up with your instructions and figure out what you need. The way mine's shifting super early, I feel like I'm going to need to go to a much lighter weight. But to get the weights off, these pins from the factory that go through there are almost like swedged on. So you have to cut them with a nice sharp pair of dikes, cut the end off, slide it out, and then you can just basically slide your main weight and your inner weight out that has the spring. You see the spring inside. This one has, it looks like maybe a green spring. So get it all pulled apart, figure out what you have, what springs you have. Hopefully it lines up with the chart with the kit that you bought. If not, you can start from scratch. It's basically a trial and error. But weigh the weights that you have already, see where you're at, and knowing if you need later or earlier shifts, use that weight to basically adjust it with the new weights. If you need a lighter one, find you a lighter one. And just, there's no real like set, like standard, I guess you'd say. You just got to play with it. You put the weights in. It kind of stinks. It's a lengthy process because you got to put your weights in, put your springs in, jam the whole thing back together, hope for the best, take it out for a test drive. It's probably not going to be right, and you come back and redo this. Here's that piston I was telling you that slides up and down. You can see the valves moving to allow the transfer of that fluid. As this thing opens and this weight moves, it moves that piston up and down. And once it comes out, right, those weights control how fast that comes out. Here's the pin I was telling you that's swedged and flat. The pin that comes with the kit is set up a little different. You'll slide it in. It has a little E-clip. Clip that on one end, slide it through, slip the E-clip on the other end so you don't have to smash it and swedge it like the factory. That'll hold it in place nice and solid. And then when you come back to change it again, you can just pop that clip off, pull it apart, put it right back together. If you're doing this process, I hope that you hit it on the first try, but I'll tell you this, I did not. I pulled this thing apart, I think about 4 times in the end before we got the shift points right where we want. Like I said, it wouldn't shift under full throttle. It shifted like 2,000 RPM, and we really raised the shift point by doing this, and it helped out a whole lot. It's a good way to tune your transmission. Now, if you're having problems with shift points under the light throttle, that's probably going to be more like your vacuum modulator, which I did adjust mine also, and it's dialed in. But this is going to be more of a under full throttle shift point type thing when you do this process. So just pay attention what you're doing. Write down everything, which weights, which springs you put in, and kind of keep a log on where you started, what was in it, and each time you change it up so that you can adjust that as necessary. Because if you get it close and you just need to go a little bit one way or the other, you'll know that you had X weight in there and you need to go a little lighter or a different spring or vice versa. Once you get your weights all installed, make sure everything moves nice and smoothly and everything is nice and clean, and then it is ready for install. So the install is really easy. Just reverse of the removal, of course. Just slide in that governor. You'll feel it just kind of rotate a little. You'll feel it drop into place. Get it in there. Get your cover. slide it on into place, maybe a brass hammer or whatever you can get in there. Mine was pretty tight. Maybe you'll have more room on yours. Kind of slide it into place, get it nice and straight, take a brass hammer, tap around it, and you get it completely flush and all the way in. And you're going to get up in there and install that clip. It just pops into the top and kind of clips around and over. You'll see it once you get in there. It's pretty easy to install. Just make sure the clip's installed good, and then you're ready to try it out and hit the road. All right, so you can see that shifted, the 1-2 shift around $4,000. I'm gonna bring it back, put it back on the lift, and keep messing with this thing. I want it to shift around, I'd say 5,500 RPM. Don't forget while you're doing this to document all your combinations, your weights, your springs, your part throttle modulator adjustments, until you get it completely dialed in, so you don't forget where you are and don't chase your tail too much. So basically just mess with it until we get it dialed in. All right, we got her all back together, and that's about as good as it's gonna get, guys. It shifts at about 5,500 first to second at wide open throttle. The part throttle shifts are pretty good. First to second is good. Second to third takes a little while. Don't shift till like 3,400, even at part throttle, which is a little high in my opinion. I might have to tweak a little bit on that modulator still. But let me just show you this paper over here and show you exactly where we ended up. It took a while and a lot of in and out with that governor and messing with the modulator. For now, we're doing pretty good. Look at this paper. I had the governor over here, modulator over here, and you can see how many times the governor came out and how many times I messed with the modulator. A lot of just chasing your tail, trying to find something that works for your setup. Basically, once I changed the weights here, I stayed with the same weights the whole way. Just was messing with the springs back and forth, going lighter to heavier, and at the same time when you do that, I'm messing with the modulator, trying to, you know, go in so many turns, come out so many turns, and we ended up down here in this area, and that's what I'm happy with for now. I appreciate all you guys watching. I know this video was a little bit different with a lot of voiceovers and whatnot, but this truck is getting better and better every single time we work on it. It's driving better, it's actually running better. Our base tune is better. It's shifting good now, so we're getting all the base stuff down so that whenever we start adding boost to this thing, that we have something good to work off of, is what I'm saying, I guess. So, because if you don't, if it runs like crap or stops terrible or whatever, it's not good, right? It's not a good starting point. So we're trying to get a good starting point so we can start having some real fun with this truck, but we're one step closer to that. I appreciate everybody tuning in, watching the build. Like, subscribe, share, all the things. On YouTube, it really does help the channel, especially the sharing of the video or liking. Leave a comment down there. Let me know what you think about the truck so far. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. See ya.